A record number of Fulton County voters cast their ballots during the early voting period. And when it's all said and done, Fulton County election officials say they would have seen a number of firsts during this election cycle. Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts joins us again. Sir, welcome back.
Great to be with you again.
Well, it's a busy week for the election department. Several county departments, additional hired workers, and even volunteers, all hands on deck for this one.
That's correct. I mean, listen, we learned a lot going back to June when we had problems and challenges. But I always say, though, we were not the only county of the 159 in the state of Georgia to have challenges. But we learned. One of there's several challenges that we faced on June that we were aware of and wanted to make sure that we did not face those same challenges going forward. First of all, polling places. The problem that we had with polling places due to the virus, minutes before, days before election was to begin back in June, places that had agreed to let us use their facilities as polling places decided that we could not. So we had to scramble around to find new places. Number two, poll workers. 6 of 7 poll workers who had agreed to serve as poll workers on election day back in June at the last minute backed out. Again, we had to scramble around to find replacements. So we took those two situations in particular because we're responsible for those. That's our responsibility. So getting ready for November, we had some 6,000 people, our corporate community, nonprofit community, all stepped up to help, volunteered their employees, et cetera, so that some 6,000 people signed up to be poll workers.
And sir, a number of safety protocols in place, especially after the COVID cluster at the election warehouse and the public safety concerns before and after Election Day.
So we have an internal task force that's been working on security because what we're hearing is that no matter which side wins, there's a possibility, and I want to underscore this, possibility of some civil distress or unrest. So we've been meeting with Homeland Security, FBI, GBI, State Patrol, local law enforcement to make sure that we have a plan. We also have a uniformed police officer at each of the 255 polling places. So we are prepared, just in the unlikely event, but we need to be prepared. The worst thing is to not be prepared and have something happen. With respect to ongoing health and safety concerns, when we were faced with the situation of the number of positive tests at our elections warehouse, we didn't panic again because we know these things are all possible. What we did, we immediately found a place, in this case, the Georgia World Congress Center, rented space there where we were able to move all of our election equipment, all of the big machines that you'll be voting on, all of the paper supplies, all of that moved to the Georgia World Congress Center. We brought in new employees to train them so that we didn't miss a beat.
And Mr. Chairman, take a look back, if you will, at the early voting period. This was pretty remarkable in the county.
You know, this is, by all accounts, going to be the largest turnout in the history of elections, nationally and also here in Fulton County. And in anticipation of that, we've hired all of these extra workers. We have gotten the private sector, the nonprofit sector to help with us. And in terms of polling locations, we've added, not only have we added early voting locations, and some significant ones at that, in particular, what I call Election Central State Farm Arena, where we have 300 places to vote there. Easy access to Georgia International Convention Center, High Museum, Fox Theater, Dad's Garage, Buckhead Theater, places where people have not gone to vote in the past, but because of corporate community, nonprofit community stepping up to help us, we're now providing an experience. Our whole mindset during this whole time was, what can we do to make voting easy and accessible to the citizens of Fulton County who choose to vote? So now, the other thing that we've done here in Fulton County that no other county has done, we bought 2 mobile voting vehicles that will be going from one end of the county to the other end of the county so that there will be really no excuse. You got the early voting locations, expanded number. And those who choose to vote absentee, if you're concerned about the Postal Service and don't want to trust that, you can go to our drop boxes. We have those located strategically throughout the county. So from the drop boxes to the number of early voting locations that we have, to the mobile vans that we have, or 2 big buses that we have, there is no excuse for someone who wants to vote not to vote. This State Farm Arena, that has gotten so much coverage. So it was June 18th, as a matter of fact, when Steve Coonan, CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, called me, my friend, and he said, "Got an idea." I said, "What is it?" So we talked about it for about 2 minutes. I said, "I'll call you back in about 5. I called him back in 3, and 5 minutes later, we had a deal to partner with the Atlanta Hawks. They were dark, meaning the Hawks were not in the playoffs. The facility was right there, right in the heart of Fulton County, so which has become now the largest polling precinct in the state of Georgia, and I think, based upon my research, the largest one in the country. And I can tell you this, when Steve and I entered into that agreement, that partnership, I had no earthly idea that that would have meant what it has meant to not only Fulton County, but statewide and even nationally. The moment we did it, the moment it became public, NBA, professional basketball teams in other cities, well, why can't we be like Fulton County, Georgia, and Atlanta Hawks? And several of them have come on. Not only professional basketball, but also football teams in these various cities. It's, well, we want to do what Fulton County and the Atlanta Hawks are doing in Fulton County. So it has spread. The other thing that about this, because of the buy-in of the Atlanta Hawks, the ownership, the management, Coach Pierce, and the players, even the players, Trey Young in particular, other NBA players. Now, if you turn on the game, they're all talking about voting. I would venture to say probably 75% of them weren't even registered before this year, probably never even voted. But I would venture to say that some 90% plus of them are now registered to vote and plan to vote and are active in their respective communities in terms of going out, talking to their fans and young people in particular about the importance of getting involved this year in particular.
And your final thoughts on this $35 million investment made by the board for this 2020 election. Was it worth it?
Well worth it. I mean, it seems like a huge number, but one of the responsibilities of Fulton County is elections, and that's probably one of the more important things that we do. So putting the resources in place from the point of view of the polling places, from the point of view of the poll workers, the media campaign that we've been involved in, all of these things have led to encouraging our citizens to vote, reminding them the importance of voting, letting them know what we're doing here at Fulton County to ensure that they have that it's easy for them to vote and they have a pleasant voting experience. So I think that we will have a blueprint now for going forward. And this blueprint, I've been talking about this from day one. When we started working on the elections in with COVID in the background as sort of the elephant in the room, we have seen what needs to happen, and I think that others are looking to Fulton County now as a leader in how to conduct an election. In fact, if you notice early on, we of the 159 counties in Georgia, Fulton County is the largest. So when there were problems back in June, everybody, local media, national media, international media, pointing their fingers at Fulton County. Although what happened, we had no control over. But because of that, though, we're moving forward now, and others are looking at how we have come from where we were back in June to now, I think, being the poster child for how to conduct a successful election. So again, to answer your question, well worth it.
Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts, thanks as always, sir, for stopping by.
Anytime. Thank you so much.